Differences of seasons, differences of time. Something that I really appreciate about summertime and the warm times of the year all around the world is we have longer days. It's fascinating to me that I can sit here at 8 o'clock, it's about 8:15 right now, and it's still like bright like middle of the day. It's just super fascinating to me, something that really just brings a lot of joy out of me. And it just really does something different to me the more that I keep doing the work out here and keep on doing what it is that I'm doing, that I've come to realize the things that really bring a lot of joy out of me today, there's nothing that I thought would have brought joy, peace, and awesomeness to me before. I do something completely different today that I used to think was a lot of work, a lot of like just why would yous and who cares? And not really knowing and having a good understanding of once you really start to get involved with doing some work like taking care of some animals and take care of some veggies and to learn how to be able to take care of yourself, that's going to be, I'm going to tell you, the number one greatest thing of fulfillment on this planet. My name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr. I was born July 4th, 1986. And something fascinating that has really come to me is the idea of what it is that I do today compared to what it is that I used to do. The things I used to do of sitting down and watching TV shows and watching little movie clips and watching movies and going to a bar, going to the clubs and going to all these little different organizations to try to think that I'm going to have some fun by drinking some and smoking some and dancing some and partying some and doing all that I thought was going to be able to bring the fulfillment to me, that I've come to realize none of that really did. Watching more and more movies, watching more TV shows, watching more and more series, watching more and more of that stuff that I've come to realize just wasn't giving me what it is that I needed. But something changed and something happened that I would watch some people doing some work and I was super fascinated in it. I was super fascinated in the fact of seeing that they just seem to be more relaxed, more calm, more at peace with what it is that they're doing. Yes, there's some struggle. Yes, there's some sacrifice. Yes, there's issues. But when the issues happen and the problems come, it's kind of a level of just excitement. You can get up, you can go. Level of excitement because you get to be able to work through those problems. You be able to get past those issues. You be able to come up with a game plan and a situation on how to be able to conquer, get past it, make it happen, to change what used to happen around. If you start raising some veggies and you notice that, don't worry about them, and you start noticing that it's not growing as well as you wanted it to grow. It's not doing as well as you thought it was going to do. You have to figure out how to change it, how to get better at it. Hey, man, you can stay over here. You can come here. And you have to learn how to change what it is that you're doing. And through those struggles, you start to really see something absolutely great, absolutely fantastic, that you never knew that you were ever going to be able to do. Because especially when it comes to like something like raising some animals like this out here, you kind of don't get a choice but to follow through. Because otherwise you're just they're all gonna pass away on you and they're not gonna make it. And it gets into your heart, it gets into your being. And if it doesn't, I don't know who you are. You have no emotions. You have no soul. You have no life. But when you see life and you're taking care of life, and life starts to have issues, you want to do everything in your power to make sure that life is going to be able to thrive and do better. That's something that I'm going to tell you is going to be able to bring a very high level of success into your life, as opposed to just watching what people are doing. I used to do a lot of watching, a lot of studying, a lot of staring, a lot of wishing, a lot of dreaming. Then I started to just do something small to figure out how to be able to get myself to be able to get into some sort of my own. And my own out here is to be able to do something to be able to make sure that I can give back in such a way. Because what I do out here is, I think, very, very interesting personally. But we all should think that what we do is very interesting for one. But for me, I think I'm on a very interesting cycle of life here because I do everything in my power with everything that I get done with the most bare minimum of what I need to be able to make it happen. Such as this building behind me. I don't know if I should call it a building or not, because it's not. It's made out of anything that I could find laying around. Anything. The most expensive thing is the tarp that's on top to figure out how to be able to waterproof it. But if I could have got away without doing that and using some sort of leaves or using something, that's what I'm going to be doing in the future. But I do everything I can on the most minimal absolute possible to figure out how to be able to give them the best life, to be able to make sure that they're able to still thrive. Because there's someone out there that doesn't have all the luxuries of even having screws, even having nails, even having any pieces of equipment to be able to put this stuff together to make it work and be able to be nice. So I'm trying to figure out and learn and get the skills required to be able to make sure that I give those skills to someone else so that they don't have to worry about struggling. They don't have to worry about needing this specific thing to be able to make it work. You can make anything work. There was a day that I was out here building some coops and I used to think that I needed the stuff that I saw everyone else have. that they had these super fancy things, all these fancy waters and these fancy feeding things and these fancy heat lights and heating systems and all this fancy netting and all this fancy stuff that I was like, man, it's almost going to be an impossible thing for me to get there. But for me, I've come to realize there's certain things to be able to simplify and amplify my life. And that's utilizing said even more animals to make my animals to be better. So I noticed that I don't have to build such a fantastic structure, that I can literally feed an animal to take care of the animals and feed them from its same source. It's a very fascinating system that I'm trying to come up with to be able to make sure that I can give this to somebody else. It's something that I want to kind of figure out how to be able to encourage more people out here to start getting into something so that you can figure out how to be, in your mind at least, the best at it. And figuring out how to be able to make it so simple, so easy, so basic that anybody is able to do it. That you don't need a fancy this and a fancy that and a degree in this and education in that and an engineering of this and engineering that. No, you just put some stuff together and you just are able to make it and be able to figure it out. Because there's someone out here that needs that information. That they don't need the information on how to be able to have the correct tools to be able to do it when they don't have access to. It's something in me that wants to get more and more people to just really start to simplify your life. Start to take back a little bit of the technology and start to get more into the creativity of what a human mind is capable of doing. Knowing that, what if the phone didn't work today? Are you still going to be able to do what it is that you do? Are you still going to know how to take care of some things the way that you want to be able to take care of it? Are you going to know how to be able to create and be able to get a food source and a water source if the phone doesn't work today? It's something that I would want to challenge more people to just start figuring out how to be able to do such a thing. Because the more that we have these skills, the more that we're going to be able to give these skills off to somebody else. So somebody else can be able to experience what it is that we're able to experience. Because I'm going to say again, there's half the world today that's struggling, that doesn't have good water, doesn't have good food, doesn't have anything. But yet, it's not that it's complicated for us to show them the information. It's complicated for us to teach it to them in such a way that they're able to thrive with it with the resources that they have around. That we can't be bringing in thousands and thousands of truckloads of equipment. We've got to be able to figure out how to be able to use what it is that we already have. And it's something that when you really start to break everything down to the super basics, to the super bare minimum, what is the bare minimum to make sure that you can make sure that everything is looking good? Everything is still good. Everything is still getting the right heat that it needs. It's dry to what it needs to be. It's getting the right amount of food that it needs when it needs it. It's able to thrive. It's able to do what it needs to do. That's something that we need to really, especially for a lot of us. And again, someone that has the availability to be able to watch this right now. You have it in you that has more time on your hands and more resources on your hands and more availability of access to things in your hands to be able to figure out how to be able to work upon some projects so that you can share that information to somebody else. And then when somebody else is looking for that, you can actually show them, teach them, and guide them on how to be able to do such a thing. And not making it complicated. Again, I'm going to say, a lot of times the things that we do, it's so complex and so complicated that no one else can do it. No one else is able to actually get it done because you have made it so hard, because you have it in you that it needs to be that complicated. And I want to say the majority of everything to be able to make yourself stay alive is very, very simple. We just like to think that we need this fancy solar generator to figure out how to be able to have power for our houses. We need these fancy tractors to figure out how to be able to cut down the fields. We need these fancy posts to be able to put up fences. When all that is false, because somehow we've been able to get here today to this point of what we're doing without any of that. We've been able to make it work. We've been able to make it happen. We've been able to figure out how to be able to make candles, to be able to make some fire, to be able to make something in our house of light to be able to move around. Someone has figured out how to even be able to make a basic candle up front, something that we don't even use and utilize much often today other than trying to make our houses smell better. And it's something that someone needs to figure out how to be able to put that together so that we can help someone else out that doesn't have that yet. I mean, still to today, in 23, we're about to hit June 1st of 23, and we still to today, the majority of people on this planet do not have a basic sense of how to be able to heat their food, how to be able to wash themselves, how to be able to cook the food to do what they do, how to be able to process and be able to manage and take care of that food so that it doesn't rot, it doesn't go bad. We're still having issues like this. And for us to be able to test and tinker and play, is we have the availability to be able to help these people out. So I know today how to be able to make sure that I can get you a chicken coop, get you an incubator set up, get you some things set up so that you can keep on doing what you need to do. Figure out how to be able to manage that on bare minimum, bare basics. I'm telling you, stuff that you have laying around. We can make this work. I don't need anything fancy. I don't need any concrete. I don't need anything. I can make what on the land work to do what it is I need to do. And that's something that I think is very powerful for all of us as a collective group to start being able to gain and get more skills like this. Instead of thinking that you're going to get famous by making a million videos and people are going to start being able to pay you through that. You're going to be famous on TikTok and you're just going to be able to dance your way to having all freedoms that you're looking for. Where that's not really the case for the majority of everybody. For the slim few, yeah, a couple of people are going to be able to make it real big and make it real good. But for the majority of us need to learn some skills. The skills needed to be able to live. The skills needed to be able to make sure that we can make sure that our future is going to be able to live. Because a lot of these skills are disappearing. The skills and the stuff that I do out here, like nobody does this anymore. There's not many people in this nation of the United States of America that are working on figuring out how to be able to multiply a population of anything. Not multiply veggies, collecting seeds so that you can keep growing more of it. We're not focusing upon any of that. We're just sitting here and thinking that watching a video and reading a book is going to be able to bring us that information, and it's not. You need to get hands in on it. And then when you're hands in on it, you need to make it simple. You need to make it so simple that it's I'm telling you, a 3 or 4 year old can figure it out. And then we're going to be able to be able to do something great on this planet and be able to make something happen. That I think a lot of us, we skipped the whole generation here of thinking that this education and going to education is going to be able to give us what we need. But yet, majority of us got education in things that aren't actually, say, even needed. We don't actually have a skill. We don't actually have anything other than a whole bunch of classes that were miscellaneous classes to be able to get us in a place in life. And then you realize those classes don't actually give you a hands-on skill to do anything. So you got a lot of money invested into something that doesn't actually get anything done, other than being a receptionist, which I'm going to say nothing wrong with that position. That position is very well needed. But as far as having something to be able to figure out how can I cut up a piece of meat today so that I can feed my family? How can I build a fire if the heat goes out and the electric goes out? How can I do these things and make sure that I'm going to be good to go? And it's something that a lot of us should really start to focus a little bit of our time. Maybe not your entire life, where I'm kind of focusing and pushing the majority of the entire of my life of figuring out how to be able to raise some animals and make some food and do what it is that I do out here. It's not something for everyone to do, but it is something for everybody to just at least take some time out of your life, some time to just look at what it is you're doing and say, I like that, and figure out how to actually do it and make it and produce it and put it together in the most simplest way. I'm gonna tell you, that's gonna be something that's gonna be able to bring such fulfillment to you, bring such joy to you. It's gonna be able to bring something to you that you've never had before, because we're losing the skills, we're losing trades, we're losing all these things. We're not doing it anymore, thinking that that's stupid and that's boring and that's work. It is, but it's work that's gonna be able to bring something great to you. It's not work that's just meaningless. More likely, if you got a job at a place doing work, that's meaningless. You're doing the same stuff, repetitive thing over and over to make sure that someone else is able to thrive and survive, as opposed to you yourself, where you're just surviving. You're not going anywhere past that. You're working for people that are thriving and you're surviving, and that doesn't make sense. So it's something for me to just say that we should be focusing more of our time on trying to gain some sort of skill, some sort of talent that we have in us that we're really good at, and figure out how to be able to get really, really good at that. So good at it that you don't have to think about it. It's just background noise to you at some point. And then you'll be able to use that to be able to help someone else out. Because what it is that I do out here, I need a lot of help. But I don't need help with what it is that I do. I need help with getting other things that I need to be able to live and be able to do what I do. I need soaps. I need veggies. I need other things. I need clothes. I need shoes. There's so many things for us to be able to make out here that we should all be working together to figure out how to be able to make sure that we're on a rotation on being able to trade and share these things. That if you need some eggs, like I'm going to be the soon-to-be guy to call for such a thing, because I'm going to have an overabundance of it. And once I have an overabundance of it, I need some shoes. So this is stuff that we need to start figuring out how to be able to do so that we can start being able to live on our own, instead of having to need someone else and some other source and some huge corporation to be able to take care of us. We can take care of ourselves. We don't need a million people in reality together to take care of ourselves. A few people, a few families can do so much for so many people on this planet. And especially when we get together and we make everything so simple, we can go other places and teach other people how to be able to do such a thing so that they can also thrive. Because we can't bring them the supplies. We got to use what's already there. And when we're in a lifestyle and a life system, like I'm telling you, if you're watching this, you're in that lifestyle of having extra time to be able to do something. You should be focusing that time on how to be able to create something so that you can share that with somebody else, instead of just letting it disappear. and thinking that I'm just going to keep on waiting and one day, someday, things are going to be great for me. No, make things great right now. Make things great right here. And that's the only way that you're going to be able to bring the fulfillment that you're looking for. Stop waiting and let's do something. Let's make something. Let's put something together so that we can teach more people how to do that. And that's going to be able to really, really show you how great this planet really is and how great you really are. Is when you start to teach and show and train people to do what it is that you're able to do. That's going to be able to bring something fantastic to you, especially when the people that you're training are people that are hurting. They're surviving. They're surviving. They're trying to figure out how to get water. They got to walk it 5 miles to get it home. They're trying to figure out how to get that water clean so they don't keep on getting sick, keep on having stomach issues. They're trying to figure out how to be able to heat up their house because it's too cold tonight. And they might lose a child because it's too cold tonight. When you're helping people like that, you're gonna be on a whole different mission in this life. And giving them money, it's not gonna get them anywhere. They don't need no money. They need skills. They need education. They need the willingness of seeing how passionate and how motivated and how dedicated you are about doing what you do to get them just as excited to want to continue to do that same thing that you're doing. That's what we need. And with that, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for me to be able to be in such an interesting position to keep on learning, to keep on working on things to better myself so that I can help other people better themselves. That for a while I was out here just working, just doing my own stuff, doing my own thing. But then I've really come to realize what I'm out here doing this work for. When I'm out here just so dedicated on making sure that everything is good to go out here. Why I'm so dedicated out here on making sure that everything is so simple. Why I'm so dedicated on being able to just really come up with a good, easy system so that everyone is able to do the same thing regardless of what kind of financial status that you're in. And that's something that I'm so thankful for to keep on working on, because the way that I work with this and I talk about this and play with this and keep on focusing my energy on this, the more excited I keep getting about it. And when I keep getting more excited, I keep talking to more people. And if people see the excitement that I have, when they used to think like, this is no good, this is nasty, this is disgusting, I would never do that. But you see how excited I am, and you're like asking questions, like wanting to learn more, wanting to figure out how to even maybe get in it yourself a little bit because of how excited I am. And I'm thankful to be so excited. And also I want to be able to figure out how to be able to get more people excited about other things so that you can keep on branching that so more and more people can keep on asking some questions. This stuff is fun out here. It's hard at times, but the overall with what comes from it is a high level of joy because I'm learning and doing and being about something that is not just caring about only me, caring about how pretty I look, caring about how my dress looks, caring about how my car looks, caring about how my house looks. I'm not doing any of that. I don't care how mismatched and sloppy anything that I build looks. It works. And when it works, it's such a great thing. And it's to me, it's even better to have stuff work from just who knows what, because it shows just the creativeness behind it. And that's such an amazing thing that I want more and more people to just really, really open your mind up to doing something and making it simple so that you can share that information. You can share that excitement so someone else can also get excited to get more and more people on board with figuring out how it is that we can get away from the chaos and the madness out here and start to focus more on how can we better each other and how can we start to learn how to communicate with each other and get closer to each other so we can share more stories with each other and learn more about each other instead of thinking that just because you believe that, we're not going to get along. And I'm going to say that that's 100% false. We don't all believe the same things, but it doesn't mean that just because we don't believe the same things, we're not going to get along. And we can definitely all get along with each other. And that's something that I know and I have a very good understanding on, especially when it comes to the idea and the concept of loving others. Doesn't mean that I'm going to come and hurt and destroy. That's not what love is all about. It's all about making sure that I'm building and giving. And giving isn't always money, because most people on this planet don't need money. They just need an idea. They need your inspiration. They need your creativity. They need your willingness so that they can also get into a level of willingness to want to do something great. Thank you.